Yes, thank you for the invitation. It's good. It's good. Elif, how did you do that with the microphone? So now it's better? Okay. Can you put on the next? Here. I will talk about blockchain and social impact. And if you have any questions, just jump in and let me know what you want to discuss. Like the whole afternoon was about like what are social enterprises, what are the differences, and if you take it like just like 3 of them, and I've edited some of the key points this afternoon, and I found it quite interesting that a lot of what you're doing is like locally embedded. And someone was telling me about a book containing dares and wooden designs accompanying this book, and I found it quite interesting that you tell a story, you have a local context, and storytelling is like one of the key things, I would say. Elif was just talking about impact management, and of course it's more in revenues, profits, and numbers of clients. And trust is also a key to what is happening. And whenever somebody is talking about blockchain technologies, it's about creating trust. And that's what I want to discuss with you. If this technology is really something what can help to create trust. I was preparing this yesterday, and then, I did the same thing, and then was just going through the headlines yesterday. And this is really something, a vibrant field, and I mean, you know it better. Slovenia has this blockchain Slovenia initiative, and there's a lot of, the government is really behind it. I mean, a lot of things is happening. UBS joins a group bringing blockchain to the shipping industry. You have a lot of talk about initial coin offerings. Corporate executives are talking about, but how could you bring this to social entrepreneurship, social impact, social finance? And just some introducing remarks. Are you familiar with everything, or? What is blockchain? Okay. You heard about Bitcoin? Yes. Bitcoin, okay. Bitcoin is the currency, and blockchain is the technology. So you have a lot of different currencies. Bitcoin is one of them. Bitcoin is yesterday it was like a market cap of $120 billion. You have more than 100 other cryptocurrencies. You have Ether, Ethereum, you have Ripple, you have even something like a fair coin, and even have a market cap of $60 million. I'm coming to how it works later, but it's basically something without a central bank. It's just, I just give you money on the blockchain, and then it's saved on thousands of different computers at the same time. Okay, that's that's it. Thank you. So just to give you numbers, 200 to 300,000 transactions per day. You have also the opportunity to make smart contracts on the blockchain, and it eliminates the need for intermediaries. So if you want to transfer, I don't know, like $100 to Venezuela, you just click on a button, and then it's you just transfer it. I will talk about it like only 2 minutes. This is the header of a block. Like blockchain means you have a lot of different blocks, and every 10 minutes you have a new block with like thousands of transactions. And each block has a header, and in the header you have a hash, and the hash is like a verification number to sum up every single transaction in it. So just to show it, here is written, my name is Wolfgang. I am Wolfgang, with a dot, and here's the same name without a dot. This hash function creates something what is quite different in each case, just adding one bit here. So, and then what happens in the block is you sum up all the different transactions, and then you have like one single hash text line. Marco's a bit skeptical. Okay. Okay. And the other thing is, just imagine you have money on a blockchain, and how do you know that this is your money? And this is basically done with a private and a public key. Just imagine that you have a private key which can lock in this direction from A to C. The public lock can create the other way around. So you can basically be the only person who can encrypt something or decrypt something and prove that this is yours. This is like, so when you want to show that this is your money, you need to have a private key to show that the money belongs to you. I've spent like 5 or 6 hours understanding all the mess behind it. This is it. And basically you have like very large prime numbers. I don't know, with like thousands of digits. And then you just multiply it, and then you get like incredibly huge numbers, and it takes like 100,000 years to solve it if you want to. So mathematically secure. I will skip it. And the other thing is, and then I'm done with the basics, is that you can have smart contracts on the blockchain, and that means, let's say you want to rent your car when you don't use it. And then you could have a smart contract saying if somebody uses your car, you get like 0.01 Bitcoin for each hour they're using it. So you can say if somebody does that, then you get the money. And then a lot of different things possible for that. So to sum it up, what we're having with this blockchain is you have a distributed database which contains all the information, all the data which ever happened on the blockchain. And it is almost impossible to manipulate. The other thing is you can store information on all the different networks. It's a bit like Napster. So you don't have one central server. You have like a network of servers which all have, in this case, the same information. You have a cryptocurrency, and you can have contracts on the blockchain. So let me come to any questions. I guess more than I can answer, but the basic principles are. This one. So what the World Food Program is doing is they have a problem. They are having, like in Jordan, they are having a refugee camp, and I don't know, like 100,000 people, and they need to distribute food to the person who have a voucher to get the food. So what they are doing is they say, well, Ali has a certain amount of cash on the blockchain, and then what he can do, or what she can do, is she goes to a supermarket or like a local market, and then in this case they are scanning her eyes, her iris, and then she can use part of the funds she has on the blockchain to buy whatever she wants. What are the benefits? The World Food Program knows instantly what is happening in the camp. They don't need to have any paper-based economy there, so they can know instantly what is happening. They have a better transparency, and they can check better what is happening I've just put it here. So they're using it for 10,000 Syrian refugees in this camp, and they have a biometric authentication technology. And this is the same thing which could be possible for any charity, social enterprise. If you're distributing, let's say you're distributing donations, or just think of any other assets, it gives you the information, like who gets what, like it is also transparent to all your donors, to all your investors, and to know how you're using the funds. Hmm? Mm. I mean, it's radical transparent. So you know every amount of capital. You can see like where the capital was coming from 2008, who had the same Bitcoin. It's not a Bitcoin, but you can see the chain of ownership until now, and you can know what they've bought for it. You know how they spent it. It's a question if you want it or not. It's just like one opportunity, and especially for the social sector, I would say transparency is something what is what we should aim for. But I see your point with data protection and so on. The next thing is provenance. One of the things I'm doing is I'm also in the fashion industry, and in the fashion industry, you have the problem that you don't know where all the things are coming from. The cotton is not obvious. The buttons, you don't know where the things are coming from. And what Provenance is trying to do is they're trying to build a blockchain-based model of verifying the provenance of all fashion parts, like where's the cotton coming from, who did your shirts, and the blockchain is especially applicable or relevant for this because you can trace, and there's no way you can manipulate it. So you cannot manipulate it afterwards and say, well, it wasn't coming from Uzbekistan, but from I don't know, India. So there's no way you can manipulate it. Everledger is doing something similar. Everledger has a database. What they are trying to do, they're uploading very valuable assets on the blockchain. So you can store information, and then you can always claim ownership to it. So you know who is the owner of a diamond, and they have over 1 million diamonds in the database. So you know who is the owner, who had it, and if it appears somewhere, it is you can check the origin of these assets. Another thing, and this is something I like a lot, and this is something I also think is relevant for you. Is someone of you doing a crowdfunding campaign? Okay, you do it as well. And one of the things in the crowdfunding campaigns is that if you do it successfully, and I hope you do so, is you have like how many funders do you have? 3,000 funders. And let's say you want to make a vote. Yeah. And this system offers you the opportunity to do exactly this, so that you can say, and it's already working for publicly listed companies, that this is working. So you say each of your funders get a token, and he can use this unique token to vote into any decisions you're taking. So this could be something interesting. And I guess I have 5 minutes left. Okay. So this is something what you can possibly think about, and I think it would increase the revenues you generate with crowdfunding if you have something additional which would be interesting for people to see. Another topic is Alice. What they are doing is they say if you donate money, you can check anytime what is happening with your money. And what they are doing is they're helping homeless people in London. And they say, here we go. They say we have an incentive to be successful. And each time, take a look at the first one, each time we place one person in a temporary home, we get £200. So they have someone who is checking if this person is getting a temporary home, then the blockchain application generates a payment to the organization. So this is like an automatic charity, and you can think of many cases where you want to give certainty or some kind of confirmation to the donor that his funds are only used when something is happening. And they have a number of different, if they have a permanent home, they get £750. If the person is still in the home after 3 months, they get an additional £1,500 and so on. So this is like an automatic version of charity. And you have a dashboard where you can see what you're doing. And that's the last one, and then I guess we can have 2 minutes to discuss it. I mean, you see, you have this open system. There's no way you can manipulate it, and then you can give people the feeling that what is happening is in the interest. So, for example, you can have a fully automated charity. I mean, obviously, all kind of remittances are already working. Think of all the guest workers, I don't know, in Qatar sending money to Bangladesh. You wouldn't need Western Union. You just click on the link and then it's transferred. A lot of assets are stored in the blockchain or are beginning to be stored in the blockchain. So those are all kind of new donations. So people are not bringing you any in-kind donations, but in the future they might give you, I don't know, like patents or like some kind of income streams generated in the system. Or maybe if you are in Zimbabwe and then you want, I don't know, you want to organize a butch, this might be something which you can use to, let's say you want to vote if you want to have a butch, let's say. Like it's also called the Byzantine fault tolerance. It's coming from this example. So you want to make a butch, and then you need to have a certain degree of not a good leadership, and then you decide on what is if you want to do that or not. So many different applications and things you can possibly do. And the question is, and that's the last sentence, is we see a lot of efficiency gains in the industry, like shipping industry, banking industry. But the question is, how can we use this potentially interesting applications for social entrepreneurship, for the social sector? Thank you.
Could the technology be used for universal basic income? So do you see the potential there, like in smart contracts, and so how the state spends the money and who gets the money?
Yes, but you can just you can just use a bank account. It's not a big. In the end, it's a cool database with a lot of cryptographic elements, but you don't have to use it in any case. But sure, if you want to collect money, and then it's like, if you say it's like a coming from the civil society, then it could be interesting.
Any questions? Any other questions? No? 5-minute break? Yeah? Yeah. Thank you. Wolfgang.